Hey hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use he him pronouns. Change of scenery. I'm in my backyard today. There's a giant lemon tree behind me. It's very tall. We have a kumquat tree over there too. Yes, a lot of kumquats, a lot of lemons. And the peach tree was over there, but then I don't see any peaches at the moment. Maybe peaches will grow in the next few months. This video is going to be of reflections on 2022. I was about to say 2023. Reflections on 2022 video, and just talk about how far I've come, the themes of my year, events and whatnot. Before filming this video, I went for a very long walk because I had a lot of energy. Now I feel energized, but I also feel tired at the same time, but double-edged sword, but it's okay. At the end of last year, when I filmed the 2021 reflection video, I said that 2022 is going to be a very big year. And indeed it has. And I'm saying in this video, 2023 is going to be a massive year for me either way. And by the end of next year, this time next year, I'm going to be filming a video and being like, oh wow, like look at all these things that happened. So the first big theme of my year, and one of the big things was conflict navigation, conflict within myself, and conflict with others. And the other big theme of my year has been getting more out of my comfort zone and trying new things and doing things that I don't really do and have not done before in my life. So themes are conflict navigation and sort of coming out of my shell more. First point I have in mind is just people in my life and people on my journey. So people who started out this year with me are no longer in my life. And there's people who weren't on my journey with me at the start of this year who are on my journey now. It's just very interesting how life works and how sometimes we drift from others. Sometimes things don't work out the way we want it to. Sometimes things end that I don't want to end, but then later down the line realize, hey, this ending is actually really good for me and it's actually better that this thing ended whether I wanted to or not. It's better for me now, or it's better for me in the long run. Losing some things, in losing some connections, I gain some new, better connections. It's just wild, really. And then just thinking there's also the people in my life who are consistent, as in my close friends, my chosen family, who've been consistent throughout the years, as in regardless of whether things happen in our lives, whether we need some space apart, we don't have time to hang out because life gets chaotic or just things happening, right? We always are still on each other's journey and still traveling with each other. Even sometimes I don't talk to some of my friends for months and then we still end up finding our way back to each other, if that makes sense, on the path. Like we might diverge a little bit and then we end up meeting again. And then these are the people who continuously stay on my journey and I stay with them on their journey. Usually when like friendships end or a relationship ends, I would feel very annoyed and just very sad about it, being like, the thought of why does this happen, why is this happening, crosses my mind. And then there's feelings of grief and loss of something that was important to me. And then time goes on, healing happens, recovery happens, continue to move forward happens. And then I'm not saying it wasn't like important, but then it doesn't bother me as much. It's like, yes, this part of my life happened. These people were on my journey, but are no longer on my journey. Doesn't mean they weren't a part of my life. They definitely were a part of my life, just not a part of my life right now in this current point in time. Who knows, 5-10 years down the line we might reunite or I know cross paths again, like that might happen. And I'm not against that either, but I just find it incredible how just dealing with loss and then grieving and then sort of having to accept that this is reality and then moving on with my life and continuing to do the things I love and whatnot, and basically live and not be stuck in a state of despair forever and in this pit of darkness forever because of lost connections. Going back to the themes of navigating conflict with others and conflict within myself, excuse me as I fix this mic. The biggest experience I had that allowed me to really foster and grow in this area is the relationship. The recent one I had from March to October this year. And had it not been for this relationship, even though it ended, and it ended on terms that I wasn't comfortable with, and it ended with a lack of closure, and it ended with me feeling very angry and frustrated, and having all these realizations that I was probably played and having resentment and all this stuff. Not saying all that's fun, but if it weren't for all of this, the whole experience from meeting them to learning about myself, how relationships work for me, how I respond in relationships, how much I don't speak my needs, and being assertively honest in order to not ruin the peace and to not walk on eggshells because I was scared of hurting the other person's feelings. I was scared of ruining the relationship by being honest about, hey, this is a problem, it's really bothering me. And not saying I didn't raise concerns I had. I did raise concerns I had, but I didn't raise it as many times as I would have liked now in hindsight because I was scared of walking on eggshells and ruining it by continuing to harp on the same thing over and over again, even though it is a problem and it's just been pushed to the side. Learning about intimacy, having intimate experiences, which I never had before, learning a lot in that domain, and learning about, hey, what are elements of a relationship that I like and I value and are important to me? What am I willing to compromise on? What are deal breakers for me? Learning all of this. Had it not been for this relationship, I would not have gained any of this wisdom and knowledge and grown so much in myself and in the relationship sphere, if that makes sense. I guess coming into a relationship, I was more confident than the last relationship I had, but I still was really, because the last two relationships I had we weren't really intimate. It didn't get to the very, very, very deep level, if that makes sense. The first person I was dating, we never met in person because they kept making up excuses to not meet and whatnot. And the second person had a lot of gaslighting behaviors, so I didn't really have proper relationships, and this was the first proper relationship, for lack of better words. I would still be the same person. So the third relationship I had was from March to October this year, and I got in the relationship in March. Now it's December. 9 months ago, I was more unconfident, less assertive, didn't know what I want in relationships, didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like for me, and a lot more things. If it wasn't for this entire experience, I would still be the same boy I was 9 months ago and not be this version of me today. The more wise, knowledgeable, experienced version of Lev. Another thing I'm doing moving forward relationships is paying attention more. In hindsight, now I'm not punishing my younger self, but it's a note for future Lev. When I got into the relationship way too quickly. It's like I felt attraction, I felt liking towards this person, and then I felt comfortable, and then I felt comfortable, and then I felt like we had a connection and we connected emotionally as well. And then at the time, that definitely ticked all my boxes. And I'm not saying that doesn't tick all my boxes, but that's not enough. But at the time, that was like enough for me, being like, hey, yay, this is cool. Like, and then I said yes to being their boyfriend when they asked me. And and then we made official, and then there was the relationship. But then there was a lot more now that in reflecting from the relationship that I didn't have, and missing elements that were important to me, such as willingness to fight, accountability taking. It's like, how willing is the person to take accountability for their own actions, their own health, their own situation, how whether the person takes action to make change. What was I saying? Yes, back to the point. Moving forward, I'm going to be observing more, if that makes sense, and not diving into relationships too quickly, and making it official too quickly. Just spending time with them, observing, paying attention, seeing how they communicate, seeing their way of doing things, and just basically slowing down and observing more, as opposed to taking action all the time and going in too quickly without sufficient information for me to make an actual decision. Because relationship now, like, it doesn't have to be rushed. It's like, if it doesn't even have to be like we don't even have to be in a relationship. Like, if me and someone enjoy spending time together and we enjoy each other's company, like even before, even if we don't date or make it a relationship, that's already positive in of itself, if that makes sense. Like, I don't have to be dating or being in a relationship with someone to have fun and connect and get close, because I learned about something called platonic love, and I can get close to people and want to hang out with people and spend time with people and show love to people without being in a relationship with that person. It's like there's many types of love, and romantic love and sexual love are not the only two forms of love. I don't know if sexual love is a form of love, but anyway, there's more to love than just the relationship, romantic, sexual side of things. And that's definitely a big thing I picked up and learned after this relationship ended. And learning, I guess a big thing for me is learning that I can be close to people and feel love towards people, but not want to be in a relationship with them. Because for me, before learning I'm learning about this, but before I learned about platonic love, it's my only idea of like love is romantic love, or shadow friendship without feeling too much love towards the person. It's not a black and white thing, and there's a lot of forms of love, and there's a lot of ways to just be around someone and spend time with someone without it being a relationship. A different thing about this year is learning how to accept praise and accept compliments, and not doubt myself all the time, and learning how to accept people's praise and compliments as genuine reflections of me, and it's me, and just not letting imposter syndrome consume me from the inside out every time someone compliments me. And for example, my manager and other managers in my workplace, my worker saying I'm a superstar and how I'm very proactive and I know what I'm doing and I just need to believe in myself. I'm picking up the grass, by the way. A lot of it's been hard. Like it's getting better slowly. I'm working towards just being able to accept it without like this feeling because of imposter syndrome, and learning how to not question my worth. And for example, landing the job I currently have, I had a lot of self-doubt about how the hell did I get here? Like, why did they choose me? What did they see in me? And stuff. Even though I've been working for like 8 months and repeatedly get reassurance and praise from my manager that I'm doing beyond what has been expected of me in this job, and he's not concerned about my level of achievement. I still, part of me still questions that, even though there's concrete evidence from other people who manage me in this job and supervise me saying you're doing excellent. Perhaps it's this is just me sort of talking to myself in a way and just brain dumping, but perhaps it's me just not wanting to come off as being better than people in a way for receiving praise and compliments, because I don't think of myself as being better than anyone, or above anyone, being above anyone or better than anyone, because we're all at our journeys on different paces, we're all doing different things, we all have such different circumstances, we're all such unique individuals with many varying experiences, factors influencing our lives and how we live our lives, and there's so many things that comparing is just not right. I think the other part of this problem with finding it hard to accept praise is growing up and believing I'm not good enough and nothing I do will be good enough. It's just like unattainable standard that I try to reach to feel good enough, whatever that may mean. It's just unattainable standard. It's just impossible. Like my own standard, perhaps it's anxiety that's not been dealt with, or trauma from my younger years that's not been dealt with, where I feel like even though I do exceptional work according to my manager, it's still not good enough. And I really don't know what good enough means for me, like in terms of that, or even life. I don't really know what good enough means. What does that even mean? Does it mean being perfect, which is what does perfect mean for me? I don't know. Or does it mean doing things to the standard where my subconscious will stop torturing me, and just telling me this isn't good enough? But my subconscious is sort of skewed too, because the idea of this extremely high standard has been, it's been conditioned to believe that and sort of guide me in that sense. So my subconscious's expectations, which I've learned from life and the world we live in, the people around me, because I didn't come out of the womb being like, this is the standard you must meet in what you do, otherwise it's not good enough and you don't deserve praise and compliments for stuff you do. I didn't come out of the womb thinking that. No one comes out of the womb thinking that. We all learn from the world around us and the people around us. Because as babies and young infants and children, our brains are like a sponge, absorb literally everything, and we learn how to operate in a certain way. And this is a completely different topic, so I'm gonna stop it there. Another big thing for me this year is, as I mentioned earlier in the video, coming out of my show. So organizing events, a few events early in the year, escape room events, putting them on the LGBT app and basically making an event and throwing it out there into the internet and into the world, and meeting up with a group of people who I've never met before to do escape rooms. And I've done that twice in a way. The first one was all people I don't know. That's where I met my ex. And the second room was with one new person that I recruited from my post online. But still, for me, it's a really big thing, because usually when I organize hangouts with people. I organize it specifically with friends I know. I mean, like, hey, do you want to go do this thing? Or organize a group activity with friends that I know, but like put them on a group chat and be like, hey, do you want to do this thing together? I haven't thrown myself out into the internet and being like, I'm doing an event, does anyone want to come to this? And not knowing like who I'm going with or who's going to show up to my event. That is a completely new thing to me. And it was scary. And it was like doing it for the first time was like, I think February this year. It was scary, but I wanted to try something new because that helps me break out of my comfort zone a little bit more. And through these events, again, I met my ex, who's no longer in my life, but has played a significant part in my growth. And also met another friend who I talk to frequently. So it's a hit or miss, I found, but the people who do land and we stick with each other on each other's journeys, and our friends who speak consistently or just journey with each other alongside each other and each other's journeys. These are the people I value a lot. Yeah. Just on the topic of events, going to trans events, not ones that I've organized, but going to events. So the first time in my life, I went to see a show, like it was a trans show last month with one of my friends, like a show by trans people, for trans people. And there was a lot of, there was different performances such as comedy, there was drag, there was music, and I would assume that like almost everyone in that room was trans in terms of the audience, because all the performers and organizers, even the tech person, controlling the technology and the lights and stuff is also trans. That the energy I got from attending that, it was like 10:30 at night. The energy I got from the show and the love I felt from a room of strangers that I don't know is unbelievable. And just the host just being so welcoming and inclusive, and we combated, like talking about combating like transphobia and making trans related jokes, and just being in that room with all the other trans people, even though I don't know any of them but one person who is my friend, who I went with. It's baffling. It's like feeling so much love in one room, feeling so much love in a room full of strangers who we all have like a shared common experience with, and all of us are in the minority group of being trans. It's just absolutely unreal to me. And the second event I went to was a powerlifting event. I did not lift because that was like last month, and I still haven't lifted weights. Not that I have weights, but not lifting heavy things. I felt out of place at the event. It's funny because I'm a trans guy who felt out of place at a trans event. And the reason for that is because I spent most of my life around cisgender people and not knowing anyone and not connecting with anyone, or being in environments where there are trans people, like open trans people, or events, and being around people and events and environments where being trans is like visibly open and is welcomed and acknowledged, and that stuff, like acknowledging that I exist and being with other people who are also in the same minority group as me. That's why I felt out of place, because I've been surrounded by cis people most of my life, and not knowing any trans people and sort of being the only trans person I know for a lot of my life. So going to a trans event as a trans guy really threw me off. I eventually found my way by telling, unknowingly, the referees of the powerlifting event were all cis. They said they were all cis, so they're like, you went to this group of people at the event, and I didn't know because there were all like a bunch of different groups of people, like in small groups, just talking and hanging out. I went to this group of people unknowing who I didn't know they were cis, and they redirected me to the group of trans masculine people, and then that's where I started feeling more comfortable because I was connecting with community, I was connecting with other people with similar experiences to me. And those are the two events I've been to this year, and a goal I have for next year is to go to more trans events, connect with community more, as in the trans community more, especially trans masculine people. Connecting to the theme of navigating conflict with myself, this year I've also grown in the ability to take breaks and slow down and look after myself. One example is work, when I would usually try to push through, even though my mental health is bad, my physical health is bad, because that's what I've been doing for a lot of my life, is continuing to push through despite feeling ill, despite my headspace not being a good place, not putting health first, putting studies first, putting work first. That's what I've been doing a lot of my life. Therefore, breaking out the cycle of continuing to push myself despite feeling burnt out is very hard, and it's still hard for me now. But I've started working on it, and it's been, as the months gone on this year, it's been progressively a little bit easier each time, in terms of being like, I'm taking a mental health day for work today, or if I go to work and then it's going at the 100 k's an hour pace is too fast, slowing down to like 50 k's an hour, still doing work, still getting things done, just not at the same pace as I normally am at. Learning it's okay to slow down and actioning that, like not just saying that to myself, but actually following through with that, which I have been doing. It's hard. Change is hard. That's actually another giant theme of a lot of things that happened this year, is change. And breaking out of old unhelpful habits, learning about myself and breaking out of old habits, breaking out of old habits, not saying I'm like completely there, but starting to work on it, realizing it's a problem, starting to work on it through action, which I've been doing, and then just continuing to use that momentum to keep going and going and going and going and going. And each time I take action against doing something that's hard for me, such as taking a break when I feel burnt out instead of pushing myself to work because I feel guilty taking breaks, it gets easier each time. Another big major event that happened for me this year is top surgery, gender-affirming top surgery. And the whole journey has been massive, and it's just from the top surgery journey itself, I've learned so much about myself and gained knowledge on so many things, such as what is the top surgery process like? How do I start the process of getting top surgery? Getting WPATH assessment, getting WPATH reports, what is involved in the report, all the people involved in making top surgery happen, like all the professionals I need in the space, like through paying them, like the anesthetist and stuff, all the professionals involved in me having successful top surgery. The moments before top surgery, learning like having the realization that yes, I'm gonna go under anesthetic and wake up with a different chest, learning how to look after myself after top surgery, learning that it's okay to slow down, learning that it's okay to ask for help. One of the biggest things after top surgery is I couldn't do a lot of the things that I usually do myself, such as like get food, even hold up a big bowl, put things in a microwave, pour water from a jug, move around without support much. Like I had to hold on to walls and stuff, and not being able to walk far distances, so need like car rides and stuff like that. I find it very hard to ask for help. And it's been a struggle for a very long time because I don't feel like I deserve it, and that I'm not good enough and I'm unworthy and unlovable for help and all these awful things that I've sort of centered how I live around a lot of my life. It's a lot better now, but it's still there. It's still very hard for me to ask for help because I'm very independent, and that's the shame factor for me in asking for help, like feeling ashamed to ask for help. But one of the things top surgery has forced me to learn is that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not have to do everything for myself, and really not just learn it. It really instilled that into me, like forced it into me in a way, into my subconscious to accept it, because it's a reality. It's not just me telling myself, oh Lev, you deserve help, you deserve support, and you don't have to do everything on your own. It's actually like actions. It's like I have no choice but to rely on people for help after top surgery because I can't do a lot of things by myself. And I don't like admitting this either, but I was dependent on my family after top surgery because, again, I couldn't do a lot of things on myself. I was dependent on people for even the most basic things, such as getting me food and getting me water, because I was that out of action that I couldn't get myself food and water. And I also learned how to look after myself properly after surgery, as in slowing down, listening to my body, listening to my mind, and in easing into activities again, not pushing myself, and learning that I can't always go at 100 k's an hour when life situations change. As in, I have a ridiculous, I don't know, I was expecting myself to be able to do the things I normally do to the same level, at the same standard, even though life circumstances change. And I'm questioning whether I said this in a previous segment of the video or not, because I lost my footage. I talked for like 6 minutes and then the mic didn't record, so I lost all my audio again. Yeah, it's okay to not, what was I saying? Yes, I have a ridiculously high standard of doing things the same level, even though life circumstances change, my health circumstances change, mental health circumstances change, different factors affecting my ability to do things and my energy levels and my capacity. Yet I still expect the same up here, which is completely unrealistic. And that's why it's also hard for me to ask for help, because even though life circumstances change, I expect myself to be able to reach that standard or even get by really without help. It's okay to ask for help, and it shouldn't be anything to be ashamed of, and it's okay to depend on people sometimes, because sometimes we need others to sort of carry us when we're struggling to stand on our own 2 feet. So I struggled to stand on my own 2 feet, like metaphorically, after top surgery, and I had to have people sort of, I sit in a wheelbarrow and people drag me push me up for a little bit until I could get back on my own feet and start doing things again, and that's okay. Another massive thing for me here links back to communication and conflict navigation with others, is learning how and working on the ability to be patient with others despite differing opinions and people saying stuff sometimes that is really offensive and is really not okay, and trying not to like lash out at these people. It's not easy. Rage responding and subconsciously responding, being like, hey, this isn't okay. Actually, I don't say that. I don't say, hey, this isn't okay. I just like get really angry subconsciously and instinctively get really angry when certain things that are not okay are said, or certain things that are done is not okay. Certain actions that are not okay are done by other people. Trying not to let the anger sort of consume me, and trying to see the other point of view of things, and that's hard. And that trying to like holding space, not just for my own emotions and responses and point of view, but being able to hold space for the other person's emotions, point of view, even though I don't agree with it, is hard and something that requires practice. It's not something that just magically comes, and I have the ability to suddenly be patient with people and not want to rage at them. Usually my initial reactions are rage, but then later on, as I process the situation, I have more time for the emotional response to sort of cool down, to actually see it from a more logical and practical point of view. Still takes a lot of energy though. Yeah, something I've been working on, like that also plays into conflict navigation, because not being able to talk to people about it, also talking to people about certain things, like not just feeling angry and having this passive aggressiveness, but actually talking to the person directly about it in a respectful way is fucking hard. Fucking hard. Very hard. Yes, something I'm working on, and I don't really know what else to say about that, but confronting it is hard. Confronting is, I keep saying the word hard, jeez. Confronting is hard, but it's worthwhile, and it's worth it in the long run. 2 more points I can think of for this video. I'm pretty sure it's long, but that's okay. Having the opportunity to be on TV this year, like being invited to be on community TV and partake in an interview about trans masculine experiences and sharing trans experiences, and it being on TV was unbelievable to me, because since starting to make trans related content and realizing that I'm trans and coming out of my shell about that, since that time, like since I started making trans content, I wanted to make trans content collaboratively with other trans people. And when I saw an email, when I got the email to be invited to speak as a guest interviewee on this show, I was like, holy, and then it happened, and then I saw myself debut on TV, and then it's also posted on YouTube. I'll link it down below if you want to see the interview. It's Ben TV, the T on the T, Trans in Conversation, and it debuted on Channel 31 last month. And I was also involved in a different project. I was in season 1 of it. It's like it's called Take Up Space. I'll also link that down below if you want to check it out. It's a project about health and well-being for young people from memory, and being vulnerable, and how do I explain it? I don't know how to explain it. Sort of like advocacy, education, being vulnerable about experiences, people talking about different experiences, and learning that it's okay to take up space. And we all deserve space, really. I'll link that down below too. But just being involved in projects and content stuff that's not my own, and being invited to partake in it, it's just dream come true, really, with the trans interview, especially just collaborating with another trans creator, trans person, and making content with the trans person, and it airing and it being put out into the world is one of my dreams come true, because I wanted to do that, and now I had the opportunity to do that, and I've done it. It's just like could not have seen this coming earlier in the year. Be like, Lev, you know, like in later in the year, someone's gonna invite you to be on interview on TV. I'll be like, what? I don't believe you. Like, no one asked me that, but like hypothetically, if someone said that to me, I'll be like, nah, you're trolling. Like, I wouldn't believe it. When I filmed at the beach last time, I had no audio cutouts whatsoever, and I didn't have to refilm any sections of my video, and it never went mute. Anyway, the last part of the last thing was gut directed hypnotherapy. So I did that, and I started doing that, and I'm continuing to do that, and it's significantly changed the food game for me in terms of being able to eat out, eat socially, open up more doors, because food, it has a lot of social component to it, and I felt left out in a lot of aspects in terms of not being able to eat what other people eat and only having limited options. I said it so much better before. I lost my audio. It cut out. I'll link the video about hypnotherapy below if you wanna see me explain it in more depth. But basically, I've been avoiding onion, garlic, gluten, wheat, and dairy for the past 3.5 years. Dairy actually early this year, but the other three for 3.5 years, and it really limited my it really limited my how I can eat socially and enjoy eating socially. For example, last time went to a Japanese restaurant, and I ate edamame while everyone else was eating bowls of ramen, and it's not because I didn't want to eat ramen, it's because I couldn't eat ramen, and edamame was literally the only thing I could have that ticks all 4 boxes of no onion, no garlic, no wheat, and no dairy. That's the only thing that ticked all 4 boxes that I knew of. That and white rice, which I didn't think of at the time, but I'm just not gonna eat white rice by itself. That was very saddening, me eating edamame and everyone else eating ramen. It would be different if I didn't want to eat ramen and that I chose to eat edamame only, and that I didn't choose to eat ramen. That's because that wouldn't be sad for me, because that's my choice. I chose not to eat ramen. But in this case, it was I couldn't eat ramen, not because I didn't want to eat ramen, and I went to eat there. I had like a grilled burger beforehand because I knew I couldn't eat there, but I accommodated for all the people that I was eating with because they wanted Jap food. I couldn't eat ramen. So that's what happens, and that's the only one example. Not a very tragic example, as for my birthday this year, the gaming venue that I went to, I couldn't eat there. That ticked all 4 boxes. And so I ate nothing there. I ate nothing at my own birthday celebration at the venue because there was nothing that I could accommodate for me. There was no item. I only drank like bubble tea, the non-milk one, and that was it. Tragic, I know. But now that I've done gut directed, it's opened up so many more doors. Now I can go have all my friends being like, yo, let's go eat all these different cuisines that I couldn't eat before. And some places that I have not touched for 3.5 years because I know that there was nothing there that I could eat. Now it just opens so many more doors to social dining and me just enjoying it and not worrying about certain things I can and can't eat, and just not worrying about whether certain places will accommodate for me or not. Just in summary of 2022, I've learned so much about myself, grown so much in of myself, done things out of my comfort zone, done things for the very first time in my life, experienced more than I could have imagined happening this year. And it's all because I was willing to go out of my comfort zone. And I would rather, if it weren't for all of these experiences, whether it's good or bad, I wouldn't be the same person as I am today, and I wouldn't have learned so much. And honestly, this is what I call living for me. It's like I would rather go out and experience life, even though I might get hurt. I'm not saying I'm gonna go jump off a cliff or dive into shark waters, but that's not what I meant by getting out of my comfort zone. But rather just safely and safely exploring curiosities and just living life instead of staying in my circle of comfort forever and just being stagnant here and settling for what I have here. Not saying what I have in my zone of comfort is unimportant, but there's so much more that is out there that that I could bring into my zone of comfort, or make a comfort thing and expand my zone of comfort. It's just so much I've done this year that has allowed me to open so many more doors for 2023 and beyond. I got top surgery. I can go and do stuff that I wanted to but have been avoiding because of dysphoria. I'm feeling self-conscious and just feeling more confident in my own body. Doing gut-directed hypnotherapy, opening so many doors for social eating and just exploring so much more food, exploring food. Endless possibilities of eating different cuisines now. Just learning how to communicate with others, learning what I need in a relationship, what is a healthy relationship to me, what I'm not willing to settle for, different forms of connection with humans like platonic love, and being able to, it's okay to get close and show love to people, and doesn't mean that I'm in a relationship with them. Just so many more doors open, and now I'm just like, I'm excited for what 2023 brings and beyond. And I know I said at the start of this video, but I know 2023 is going to be a big year for me either way. I'm going to learn shit tons and I'm going to grow shit tons, and by the end of next year, I want to be sitting here filming a video being like, last year in 2022, Lev said that it's going to be a big year, and it has been a big year, and then I'm going to say that at the end of next year. That's all for this video, folks. Thanks for your continued support of my channel and my content, and feel free to leave comments if you'd like, or contact me if you want to share or chat, and I will see you all in 2023 for more content. Take care.